Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Fly Time Tea. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and click on the little bell so you'll get alerts whenever I add new content. As you can see, my bags are packed and I'm off again today. Stay tuned until the end of this video and I'll tell you where I'm off to next. Before I do, I want to take a few moments to just wrap up what was really an outstanding 17-day road trip we took through Maryland, Virginia, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. As you might know, we went to every civil rights site we could find, every Black history museum, every little Black town. We followed part of the Mississippi Blues Trail. We went to plantations that had existing slave quarters. We really got a wealth of information and a rich experience about the African and African American contributions to this country and to our culture. I highly encourage people to take an opportunity to drive through part of the United States. I tell you, you will not be disappointed. We had two experiences in particular that I think are representative of how I would sum up this trip. First of all, we were in Gulfport, Mississippi, and if you don't know about the beautiful beaches of the Gulf Coast, I encourage you to visit them. They have beautiful white sand beaches. There's even a Black-owned hotel in Gulfport. We had a chance to go to Morgan Freeman's Blues Club in Biloxi, and there's just a lot going on in that part of the country. We saw a sign that said Gulfport. I pulled off on the side of the road. There was a place to actually park, but I just pulled over and put on my flashers and we walked up the grass to take pictures. As we turned around, we saw a white man running towards us. And so, of course, we are traveling this country in our own skins. We are very much aware of the climate in our country now, and we are products of the civil rights movement. So we are always cautious in traveling, especially through the South. And so we were preparing ourselves for what potentially could happen as we saw this white man running towards us. As he approached us, he said in the sweetest Southern accent, he said, "I thought y'all was broke down and I was coming to help y'all. And then I saw y'all was trying to take pictures and I thought maybe you would want a picture of the two of y'all together." When I tell you, that really touched my heart so much to the point that I really felt bad for even being suspicious of his intention. But the reality is, you know, as a Black person in this country, you always have to keep your head on a swivel. But I want to just say that his attitude and his kindness that he extended towards us was what we experienced throughout our trip. And so I want to leave that experience thinking and believing that Mississippi and Alabama are trying to be better than their worst moments in history. And so for that, I really applaud them and I encourage people to really visit those states. It's much different than I think what we remember them being. And so we had a great experience. So funny, one of my cousins said to me the first time I took a similar road trip through Alabama and Mississippi, he said, "Baby, I ain't never heard of nobody going to Mississippi." And to me, that was really so funny because we all know that the history, especially during the civil rights era of that Mississippi and Alabama, we know about the history in relation to African Americans in this country. Now that I would juxtapose with another experience we had. We had a chance to visit Money, Mississippi. And many of you may know that Money, Mississippi was the site where Emmett Till supposedly whistled at the white woman. We found the exact location of the Bryant's grocery store where he allegedly committed this offense. There is, in fact, even a marker there. Next to it is a gas station which has been restored clearly. There's a video and a flat screen TV in the window. We didn't take time to really see what it was all about, but it's right next to where this store stood. The land was purchased by a descendant of one of the members of the jury in the Emmett Till case. They have refused over the years to sell the land where the store stood to any individual or organization that might want to restore it as a place to memorialize this incident that occurred that was one of the major triggers to the civil rights movement. However, they were able to receive upwards of $250,000 to restore the gas station next door, which has no affiliation with Emmett Till or any moment in history. So that kind of suggested to me that there's still a lot of denial. There's still a lot of failure to acknowledge and recognize and allow an opportunity to heal from things that have happened in our history 50, 60, and 70 years ago. But as I can say, I left the trip by and large feeling really good and having a positive experience. We learned so much about African American contributions. I learn new things every time I travel, even in places and experiencing things that I think I know the whole story about, or where I've seen the movie and read the book. But there are always new nuggets of information that I have always come to discover. So again, I would encourage all of you to take a road trip around this country, even within your own state. So one of the things that I'm going to be including on the site, and when I did my first road trip in 2015, I started with a book called In Their Footsteps. It had been published by Essence Magazine, and it had Black historic sites all across the country. So I've developed something similar. I'm up to about 120 sites, and I'll upload them. Many of the sites I've actually had an opportunity to visit. So I encourage you to visit. There's lots of great museums around the country, but there are also these smaller museums that are really hanging on by a thread. And they hold such wealth of knowledge and information, not only within the confines of the buildings, but from the people you will meet whose lived experiences are reflected in the artifacts and in the history and the stories that the museums, these museums tell. So I encourage you, like in Mound Bayou and in Roanoke, Virginia, there are all these little small museums that we really need to continue to support to make sure that these stories are not lost and that our children can continue to learn and grow from them. So I'm going to leave that there. Again, invite you to go back and visit. I've uploaded content from almost every day of our 17-day trip. Now I am off to Iceland and France. You might think that's a strange combination, so did I, but I got a great deal on an Icelandic airline to Paris, which allows you to spend a few days in Iceland, and so I'm going to take advantage of that. I've had a number of friends who have been to Iceland. They all say it is very nice and it would be well worth the trip, so I'm going to do all the Icelandic things, the Blue Lagoon, the geysers, and take in everything that I can within the 4 days I'll be there. And then after that, I'll be in Paris and Normandy and Toulouse visiting friends and family. So I hope you'll come back and join me and take a look at all of my adventures as I travel through Iceland and through France. So until next time, that's all from me, the Fly Tante. I'm wishing you all peace and blessings. Take care.